Oh, probably should have posted about this on my page.
Everybody say hi to Megan.
Hey guys.
Hello. I'm saying hi.
Here we are.
Megan's doing a very special tattoo for Jennifer.
You want to tell them about the tattoo, Sammy, or do you want us to?
I think you should.
Alright, cool. Well, I got a call from Sammy asking me if I wanted to be involved in Ink for a Cause. And as an artist that found my way into tattooing, I couldn't be more grateful for what I have and what I found, and that I can make a living, and that, you know, people want to collect my art. And so to have a chance to be able to give back and do something for good with my art, I definitely wanted to jump on it. So he told me about Jennifer, which is who I'm tattooing today.
Hello.
Hey, Jen.
Hi, everybody.
Jennifer, why don't you tell them what your cause is and a little bit of your own story.
Sure. Okay, my name is Jennifer Knell from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and I was diagnosed with 3 brain tumors a week before Christmas in 2014. As soon as I was diagnosed, I actually began to realize that there's not enough awareness out there for people with brain tumors. And I realized how, you know, no one seems to really be doing too much for people. Brain tumor awareness needs to get out there. There's over 700,000 people living in the United States with a brain tumor, and 13 kids every day are diagnosed with a brain tumor. And I found out that the gray ribbon actually stands for brain tumor awareness, yet I never knew that. I'd never seen a celebrity or an athlete or a musician going around sporting the gray ribbon. I don't see anything out there for us who have brain tumors. So I created 2 social media challenges. One is the Rock Out Brain Tumors Air Guitar Challenge. And if you do the challenge, it's on YouTube, it's on Facebook. If you do the challenge, it raises awareness and it generates donations to the National Brain Tumor Society.
Hey. Hold on. Okay, so hold on. Before we give you all of the spiel all at once, I'm gonna dip in and out of how it all ties into the tattoo, just because a lot of these people really like tattoos.
Sure.
So obviously, when I called Jennifer, we started talking about all of this, okay? And the way I get inspired as an artist is to really listen to who someone is in the world and what it is that they're expressing, their being, actually. So the first thing she told me was that, you know, she's really concerned about the lack of awareness around brain tumors. And so she started these programs to raise awareness in the world. And I read some articles about the work she's done. And then I had to do my part, which is like sit back and think about what would be natural on this person's body. She listed a few things that she likes, which is like she liked angels. That was one of the things. She explained she's not a girly girl, but she does enjoy dressing up sometimes. And she had this air guitar challenge to raise awareness. When I got off the phone with her, I had to stop and think, okay, well, I don't want to just do a collage of images, because you see these tattoos and sometimes it just looks like some person said, I want this, this, and this, and an artist said, okay, and just threw it together. I try and like put a story together that's coherent. And so we've designed this candlestick that's, the flame of the candlestick is actually a female ballerina. And she's exhausted and leaning back, but still reaching for the sky. And to me, when I stopped to think about it, I thought I wanted to design something that captured Jennifer doing what she does in the world. Her work in the world is to bring light to brain tumors, to bring awareness to us about something really serious that affects a lot of kids and a lot of families. And so I designed this tattoo based around a lot of the work she's been doing and a lot of the feelings that she didn't really say to me, but I picked up on it on the phone. And if you guys follow any of my work, you know that's kind of what I do. I like the meaningful stuff. And I like people. Are there any questions, Sammy?
Everybody's just saying cool, strong, courageous, brave. God bless you. Awesome. Thumbs up.
Thank you.
Wow.
They can actually email me and I get back to everyone if they wanted to do one of the challenges that would help so many people.
Awesome.
And I can even give my email address, if you don't mind.
Go right ahead.
It's email me at Jenny, Jenny, Bird, B-I-R-D, 227 at gmail.com. I have 2 social media challenges. Rock Out Brain Tumors Air Guitar. It helps the National Brain Tumor Society. And I just created Pause Up for Brains, and that helps the Pediatric Brain Tumor Foundation. So please, I'm trying to not only save my own life and prolong my life, but I'm trying to help over 700,000 of us here in the United States who have a brain tumor. So please, if you think it's cool, do one of my challenges, look me up. I'm on Facebook too. Thank you so much.
There are people watching from Israel.
Whoa,
Wow.
that's amazing.
So cool.
I want to go to Israel. It's one place I haven't been. What else can I
Everybody's
tell you?
asking how long you think it's going to take to finish.
This to me looks like maybe a 7-hour tattoo. Filigree slows me down, honestly. The candle's moving right along and so will the figure, but filigree has to be really neat and clean. I don't like to line it too much, and that it takes a long time to make a clean edge with just a shader. I'm using the cartridge system now for any of you who are tattooers out there. I haven't really used a coil in probably 7 years, but I actually just ordered one. I kind of, Josh Duffy tattooed my sides, and I noticed he was using them and got me curious again. I'm a big fan of the convenience of cartridges, but something about those coils I want to make sure I'm not missing. Her skin is really great. Everyone's skin tattoos differently, and Jennifer's skin just soaks this ink right up. I'm using a very, very light gray wash right now, and it's just popping dark on her without any effort.
Megan, they want you to come to Israel.
Yeah, I totally am down. A friend of mine just invited me in October, actually, so I'm considering it.
It'd be cool if someone over there would do one of the challenges. Nobody
Yeah,
can do that.
someone in
That would be
Israel do one of the
awesome.
challenges.
That would be so cool.
We'll keep an eye out
Yeah.
and try and get in touch with you specifically. What are the 2 challenges?
I have the Rock Out Brain Tumor Air Guitar Challenge, and I have Pause Up for Brains. Both are on Facebook. I'm on Facebook as Jennifer Bird for now, and I also gave my email address, jennybird227@gmail.com. All the help is really appreciated.
We're going to try to get it done in one session.
Oh, we're definitely getting it done in one session. She's sitting like a rock. Anyone who's out there who's been tattooed by me before knows that we'll get this done in one session. No sleeve driver here.
Frances Pilla has a brain tumor as well, she said. And says thank you.
Oh,
I got you,
look at
Francis.
that.
I got you, sister.
Yeah, that adds meaning to it.
Oh, yeah. If you don't mind, too, I want to make mention of Melissa Carson, who just lost her baby son, Ryan. He was 6 weeks old, and brain tumor took him. And I would like to say something to Melissa Jennings, whose son, Brandon, in Kansas, just had his second brain tumor removed. And also, hey, little Zach Williams, who's 11 years old, from Philadelphia, me and his mom, Tina, talked. He also had his second brain tumor removed. And even after you have these brain tumors removed, if you can have them removed, you're still affected by it for the rest of your life. I mean, it's your brain. And, you know, even the brain tumors that aren't cancerous, they still wreak havoc on your life. There's actually over 120 different types of brain tumors.
Wow.
And every one of them are they wreak havoc on your life. So we need a lot more people out there to step up and support us. So if any musicians, celebrities, athletes, come on guys, let's see the gray ribbon. We see pink all the time, and I do support breast cancer. So let's see more gray and help us out. We'd like to live a little longer.
Very candid. It's great.
I'd like everyone to know that I'm doing this as well as a tribute to my grandfather, Norman Berg, who passed away from a brain tumor. So I want my pop in heaven to know I got him as well.
Is it a genetic thing?
Doctors do not know what causes brain tumor, which has to change.
There's a lot kind of unknown about the brain, isn't there?
Yes, yes. And both my challenges, they support research for new treatment options. And I'm hoping for one day a cure.
Stride Money from Philadelphia says hello.
Hi, Rye. I love you.
That's your son? Oh, that's awesome. What can we talk about here? Any questions coming through?
They're asking what kind of machine you're using.
Okay.
Well, hold on.
Okay.
Jessica Howard says, I had 18 brain surgeries due to mastocytosis, a false tumor.
Yeah, I heard that.
I had to give up my nursing career to make $700 a month to keep up the fight.
Wow, I just got chills.
Yeah, Jessica Howard.
Jessica, look me up. We'll talk. I'm here for you.
Damn. Thanks for sharing, Jessica.
So I'd like to know what kind of machine and what kind of needles.
Well, I mean, I've got a FK iron. I use the Edge. I like to tattoo pretty quickly. I like a lot of power. The Edge has been a great machine for me. I've been with FK irons for like, I don't know, 7 years or something. I've always liked the company and the people, and they're changing and innovating all the time. But you know, there's several good machines out there. You kind of got to find what's right for you. Needles. I'm a stickler about needles. With the cartridges so far, I stick with Cheyenne. I've tried some others, but you know, we all have our preferences. I like the way the plastic feels, and the tip isn't too bulky. Also, some people, I noticed some needle companies are doing a cool thing where like we go to dip this in the ink and it's a well. It holds ink in it. Some seem to hold ink for a really long time so that you don't have to dip it as often, which to some artists is a great thing. For me, I actually find it frustrating because I have to rinse my machine in between colors. I do color and black and gray, and it takes a long time to rinse out. So I like the Cheyenne. I think they're kind of the perfect level of mix. So FK irons, machines, and Cheyenne needles. And I got Eternal Ink out, which I've pretty much used since I started tattooing. I varied here and there to try other stuff. I'm always trying new products and making sure that I really like the one I'm using. At this point, there's definitely good options for all of us, options on every product. So a lot of times it comes down to the people I'm dealing with, the company, the customer service, where they're located. I'm, fortunate enough to be sponsored, so I look at, what can they do for me as an artist, and I like working with good people.
Is this a charity tattoo? Yes.
Yes, this is.
We're giving back.
I'm charging her $1 million.
Uh-oh.
Well, we didn't tell you that.
No, it's not a cover-up.
Actually, there is a little tiny cover up
Oh, there's
in
a
there.
little piece right there.
Yeah. I love little tiny old tattoos, and sometimes it's a bummer to see them go. But when I'm creating this like big, soft, artistic thing, if I left that right there, it would really take away from the tattoo I'm making. So, bye-bye.
Paulo said cool.
What?
Paulo said cool.
Okay, cool. That's awesome. So, work on my background here. With black and gray, I think one of the most effective things you can do is have a really strong light source. Light effect really shows up nicely. And I decided to build mine right into the tattoo. If you ever use a candle or a sun, if you get the light source right in the tattoo, it can really make it pop. So,
It's just a black and gray tattoo. No color.
no color yet.
It's gonna be amazing.
I don't like mixing color with my black and gray. I prefer to keep color kind of 100% color tattoo, and the black and gray a real classic sort of
This is,
feel. Yeah, there's my reference.
that's the reference, guys. It's kind of insane.
I build my references out of a bunch of different images I find online, and this is a conversation a lot of artists are facing right now. Realism took off, and we all kind of learned how to do it, and we would try to find the coolest photos online and use them to make a beautiful piece of art. Well, at this point, a lot of people are pretty much using the same databases to find our images, and it's starting to become sort of like Google Flash. So what many of us are doing to try and make sure our clients get an original piece of work is chop and paste and draw, kind of a combination of things, so that you really end up with a piece of artwork that your neighbor won't have. So I built that reference out of I think 6 different photos. I found a skirt somewhere, a ballerina somewhere, a candle somewhere, the bottom of a candle somewhere else. And then that's the focal point of my tattoo. And then I freehanded, which just I drew with Sharpies, the filigree. So that overall, you know, I want to make sure this tattoo is unique for Jennifer. Just makes me feel better about it. There's definitely really cool references out there, and I'll use them as long as it's a piece where I'm sure my client wouldn't mind. I try not to use things that I've seen used before, or if I do, I just try and like change them a lot so that they don't look exactly the same. You know, maybe that stuff doesn't matter to you, and if not, then that's cool. But I think a lot of my clients, when they come to me, they really do expect something original. And I guess just for myself as an artist, I kind of hold myself to that standard. Also, when you've been tattooing as long as I have and as much as I have, you get burnt out. And a good way to not get burnt out is to keep yourself challenged. So by making stuff original, I think I just get more interested in the design. I'm not just kind of copying something and making it again. I'm really creating something new each time. I like when I start a tattoo and I don't know what it's going to look like until I'm done. That's where the freehand part's really exciting. So I'm not just creating a copy of the picture that I have sitting to my right. Something really cool. I don't know what you guys are interested in, but I just have thoughts and I figure I'll talk out loud since you're here with me. But something that I learned recently that I really like is the difference between smooth and not smooth. So I don't like doing pieces that are all smooth as glass. But I've started using you know, the contrast, so that I've got like a really smooth background here. What? Is that me talking? Anyways, I've got this like really smooth background, and then on the candle, I intentionally didn't use this like brush stroke. I intentionally was using more of like different directions and circles. Another thing I'm having fun with lately. I just gotta find things to like keep myself interested in each piece, you know?
I'd like to say something if I can that I thought was pretty interesting. In talking with Megan Jean, when she told me that she came up with this whole concept of the ballerina, and just by the way that she created the ballerina, kind of leaning back, and in talking to Megan Jean, I opened up to her. She kind of realized that I only talk about what I do for advocating for other people, but I really don't talk about myself. And I'll talk about how it affects me. And of course it affects me. You know, there's a lot of pain involved, physically and mentally. I like to always show the strong side and not an emotional side. But Megan Jean kind of picked up that I do have an emotional side, and I'm allowed to go ahead and talk about it. And this ballerina, it does symbolize kind of what I go through. I do feel like I am suffering a lot myself, but yet I have to stay strong for other people because I know that I have the ability to go around and spread the awareness. So I have to keep fighting, and I have to keep myself standing straight and moving forward.
Yeah.
And I also feel like it's a good thing to show my son and my family that no matter what tries to break us down, and I've had a lot in my life that has tried to break me down, you still can find it within yourself to carry on. And there's nothing better in the world than knowing that you're helping other people. So this is just right on.
Yeah, it's really amazing. Somehow I've built this thing for myself where I get really meaningful projects, and I like that. It like I said, it inspires me. So something that's happened recently is I've noticed with people who are really going through something and handling it like a hero, when they describe it to me, they talk about a lot of positive things. Sometimes they don't even address the main issue at hand. And I've had to realize that's how they're surviving. That's how they're remaining positive and strong. So I kind of have to, it blows me away. I mean, I don't really know if I even have a point here. There was a moment when I went to design Jennifer's piece that I thought she barely mentioned. It was like a side note that sometimes she's in so much pain she can't go to work, or she's on her hands and knees. It wasn't the main point of the conversation for sure. But it's when I realize stuff like that where it's like, wow, here's this woman who I know there's a lot she's not telling me, but what she is telling me is that she's created this program to raise money and awareness. She's out traveling the country doing it. She goes to work still when she can. She takes care of her son. And I just know it's under circumstances that like she barely talks about, because it's almost like she doesn't let herself go there because it's not super productive. And it just blows me away, the strength, I guess, and positive focus of energy. Makes me want to do like an even better job when I'm designing her tattoo. It makes me, who cares if I'm gonna get only 3 hours of sleep? If the thing's not perfect, I need to keep going. Like, that's one thing about my tattoos. I really put a lot of time into the design, and not just the aesthetics of it, but the story of it and the meaning of it.
Any questions?
Ask the camera now, everybody. A lot of compliments. A woman said, Tina said, definition of a survivor.
Thank you, Tina. Thank you.
Tina also says, you're such an inspiration.
You keep on going. Thank you.
A lot of people keep asking, I don't know if you answered this before, but how long have you been tattooing for, Megan?
A lot of people ask that all the time. How long? Like, that's one of those questions, there's so many questions that we hear again and again, and I always wonder if it really matters. I think I've been tattooing for about 10 years. When I started, I was just in the backwoods in Maine, and I did not think it was going to be my career. It was just something I thought would be cool and fun to learn how to do. And I took it seriously as far as I wanted to create nice, clean, well-done tattoos. But 3 years in, I went to my first tattoo convention in Arizona. It happened to be Hell City, which at the time and even now is still one of the best in the country. And I saw Mike DeVries and Nico Hurtado's work, and my mind was blown. I didn't realize I could make art like that with tattoos. And that was when I really started putting myself into the work. But back then it wasn't like it is today. You can get as much information. I mean, I see people who have been tattooing 2 years now, blowing people away. But I think no matter what, there's a lot to be said for experience, because I've watched all the DVDs too, and there's things that you cannot learn until you see a piece 5 years later, 10 years later. How does it look? What held? Also, you gotta make mistakes. You have to learn certain things by doing them wrong first, unfortunately. Layouts are a big thing. It's not how to tattoo, but it's how to design a tattoo. You know, what's too much? What flows with the body? I tried to draw this filigree last night on a flat piece of paper so that we could really move along quickly today, and it fucking sucked. And I finally just said, what the hell, this isn't, you know, it's not gonna fit her leg. It's gonna be a nice tattoo, but it's not gonna like flow. I said, I gotta draw this in person. So sure enough, I came in here today and I just saw exactly the shape I needed and was able to make it fit up around her kneecap, down around her ankle. It's not overly detailed, but little points here and there. I had one of these vines running through this behind the chick's boob, and I was like, well, that's stupid, you know? I've learned from doing it wrong that you don't want one major thing like running into another major thing. And then, you know, especially not boobs. I'm gonna leave those alone. Let them be, they're perfect. So, I mean, I did a lot wrong, and that's how I became the tattooer I am. Thank you to all those people who ever got tattooed by me. So I think, you know, it is impressive and cool when people can just, you know, do a rose that even I could barely do now. I'm like, wow, look at that rose. But I think there's a big difference between a person who's been tattooing 10 years or 20 years versus someone who's been tattooing 2 years. And it's something a little outside of the like technical skill thingy.
While you were learning, which tattoo artist did you look up to the most in your learning process?
In the beginning it was Mike DeVries and Nico Hurtado, hands down. Oh, and Adam Gordon, because he was the man training me, so he was God. My apprenticeship was super fucking old school. Like, I was washing motorcycles, I was sweeping the floor, cleaning the bathroom, bringing coffees, and making needles. And these guys were, I mean, they were mean to me in the best way possible for fun. Adam tattooed my armpit for me, and Doug Wood was around. He was the other guy there, also teaching me a lot. And partway through the tattoo, Adam and Doug thought it would be really funny to just squirt alcohol on my armpit. So, but I really felt like part of the crew, you know? It was like an old school apprenticeship where you kind of have to earn your right to be there. And that's really the way it should be. You're not going to make it as a tattooer unless you really want it. And I think that having to like go through shit and earn your space is a good way to see if you really want it.
Jennifer, I have a question for you. Javier wants to know, how bad is the pain right now?
The tattoo pain?
Mm-hmm.
It's not bad at all. I think I have kind of a high tolerance maybe for pain, so I guess on a scale of 1 to 10, I'll say maybe a 6, which it's not bad. It's not bad.
What's the most painful tattoo you have that you got?
Actually, probably the one under my arm, and then going like towards the armpit area. That was a little different. It was like it wasn't so painful that you know, oh my gosh, you can't take the pain, but it had a different type of sensation. So I would say that this one was the most difficult under my arm.
Wait, I gotta tell you about my most painful
I was just gonna ask
tattoo.
you, go right ahead. I have your armpit already and I'm freaking out.
Hands down, no question. There's this little place on your body where your butt turns into your thigh. And there were no words. No words. Nico was doing it. And Nico was hilarious. I was not like mentally prepared for him to tattoo my butt. So there was a moment where I did shed a single tear. It was It was on our first sitting, and he said something like, "Don't trip, dude. I kind of gotta spread them for a second." And I was like, literally, one little tear just rolled down. Because why am I in a situation where someone has to say that to me? And it hurt. So, you know, that was shitty.
A lot of people are saying, "What's up for Maine?" By the way.
No way! I fucking love my Mainers. Mainers rock. I've definitely traveled like all over the world now, and we keep it real. Like I'm so lucky to come from a beautiful place like Maine. So thank you to everyone who ever supported me, and I can't wait to come back. I guess I'm out doing my thing right now.
So where's my Philly people? Hey Philly, where you at? Come on. I came all the way to New York, and guess what I had for lunch? A cheesesteak.
A cheesesteak, we did. You guys made me think of it, you know? I'm gonna start burying this cover up. The way I do these is I don't want to go any darker than I have to. So I kind of put in like a medium dark tone and let it sit for a little while, and then see what shows through.
We can't show the piece that Nico did.
It's on me, and I'm busy right now. It's online. Just Google Little Red Riding Hood back piece. Not right now though, because you're watching us.
We got people from Spain, North Carolina, Louisiana,
Awesome.
Milan,
Wow, awesome.
Michigan. I'm trying to find Philly people for you.
Milan. I love Italy.
Nebraska,
Wow.
Nebraska.
Portugal.
What?
All right. What's up, everybody?
What's the name of your shop, Megan?
Painted Soul Tattoos. I figured that out way years before I opened it. I was thinking that the people I tattoo are kind of like little painted souls running around Earth. So that's why I called it that. Oh, and I'm a painter, you know.
2 people from Philly.
All right, Philly.
Your nephew Jojo is watching from Philly. Don't worry.
Hey, JoJo. Thank you, hon.
Everyone's saying how beautiful it's coming out.
It's so funny.
I actually don't
feel like I
wanna
can't
look
see
at-
anything.
I don't even want to look at it until it's done.
Done, right?
Hondo, Texas.
Wow.
Iowa.
Hawaii.
Awesome.
I think I'm going to Hawaii soon. Hawaii is amazing. Yeah, it's really something.
Are there any tattoo conventions out in Hawaii?
Yes.
That's what I'm going for.
Oh my god.
There's a really good tattoo convention in New York.
There is it's actually can I say this without pissing anyone off?
Yes.
It is my favorite convention on the East Coast.
What is it called?
Empire State, baby. It's super, it brings in quality tattooers. The people who put the convention on clearly care about the artists, and that's where you're gonna get the good tattooers. It's not a lot of junk. Every booth is amazing. Brings people from all over the world. So, if I were a person, what? If I were a person going to a tattoo convention to check it out, that's definitely one that I would try to get to.
July 15th, 16th, and 17th.
Nadine wants to know, what's your favorite part about tattooing?
Man. Well, when I'm designing the piece, I actually always think it's the brainstorming part, because I get really excited, me and the person connect, and there's that moment where it's like, cool, we could do this, we could do that. And then for images is kind of fun. I get to just like drink a coffee and browse the internet, which like we all love. But it's not my favorite part. And then the drawing part is sort of like, that's sort of fun. It's sort of nerve-wracking too, though. I'm always like, fuck, I hope I can do this. And I'm actually always, generally, I mean not always, but pretty much often, I'm nervous to start tattooing. And then there's a moment, maybe like 10 minutes into the tattoo, where I settle into it, and I'm like, fuck, I love tattooing. Yeah, and that's where it's at for me. That's where it's like, dang, like, it's calming. I'm in my comfort zone. I feel confident. I feel like when I'm out just with people, I'm not always sure what to say. I'm not even sure if I have anything interesting to say, because like I don't do much other than artwork. Somehow that happened, and I became really boring. So there's a moment where I settle into the tattoo where I just feel satisfied.
And do you have any memorable tattoos that you've done? Like, what's the one that sticks out to you the most?
I have a couple. I mean, fuck, I have a bunch if I really start thinking about it. But I have a few that, like, there's this lady, Joni. She had some tumors actually in her head. I don't think they were in her brain. And she actually wanted me to do a tattoo of a beautiful warrior woman whose head was separated from her body. And that was my first time where I was tattooing someone where I was really aware, and they were really aware that they were dying. We're all dying, okay? So it's like, okay, hold on. But, you know, it's different when you sort of have a time frame. And so that one always stands out to me when I stop to think about it like this. The other one was like this massively controversial thing that I posted. It was this guy Chris asked me to design the beginning of this horror sleeve for him, and he named all these big time artists he was gonna have work on it, and they were all dudes. So I was pretty flattered that he saw darkness in my work. Not everyone catches that, and that he thought I could pull off a horror tattoo. And I wanted to bring something to the sleeve that the guys wouldn't. And so I built this like image of a chick, a lady, like kind of like in some sort of like bondage gear thing, and clearly in distress. And the tattoo leaves you wondering like who would do a thing like this. And so people are really upset about it, and I think it was so upsetting because I didn't draw the monster. I didn't draw a demon. I created something that made you create a monster in your head, in your imagination, which is the scariest, most offensive, upsetting thing.
So deep.
Yeah, so that was kind of cool. I've tattooed a bunch on this collector guy, Todd, and his wife. And all of their tattoos are like present for me because they're all big, meaningful pieces. He and his wife went through a lot with their kids in a car accident. I can't help it. Like, I don't mean to be so fucking deep and serious. I wish I weren't. I really do. Like, I try to if you look at who I hang out with, I try and hang out with people that like never talk about anything deep or meaningful because I have it covered. Like, I'm so sick of myself sometimes. But yeah. help it. Maybe I had a sad childhood or something.
All right, guys, we'll be back at 4 o'clock. My phone battery is gonna die.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in. It's awesome.
Thank you, everyone. Please support the cause.